This video will cover syllabus and course policies for History 122, World Civilizations from 1600. In particular, this course will cover the historical, cultural, political, economic, and geographical development of major world civilizations in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas from 1600 to the present, with a special focus on the origins of science and the impact of technological innovation on culture and society. As for course readings, there are no textbooks that you need to purchase. However, there are some readings that you will need to read in order to complete some assignments. All those can be found on Blackboard. Now, going through the syllabus isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it is important in order to understand all the course policies. And even though I'll be reading some things, I will at times step back and kind of comment on what those mean. So please do bear with me, because like I said, while this isn't the most exciting thing, it does tell you what is expected of you in this course, which will of course help you get the best grade you can get. Now, there are some classroom responsibilities that were approved by all Lander faculty that I think are important. Not all of them, of course, are directly applicable to an online course, but it's still important to note them. All Lander students will read and follow the professor's syllabi, including course guidelines and procedures, in order to be prepared. So that's what we're doing right now. You should check your email account daily. I will be sending out emails often. That's my major way of communicating with students. And one thing I have to really stress is, because this is like a summer class, basically every day and a half or so is like equivalent to a week during the regular school year. So if you just decide, well, I'm not going to check email for 4 days, you may miss out on some really important information, especially if there's a change or something like that. So you do want to check daily. You need to be aware of course, professors' absence and tardy policies. I don't really take attendance in this class, but I do expect people to check Blackboard regularly to complete the assignments. And one thing I should point out too is there are these kinds of weekly password assignments, and that's basically the way I check attendance, is to make sure that people email me with the password. I'll talk more about that later. It's important to communicate concerns that you have about the class to me, including if you don't understand something. I am happy to answer questions. I typically often check email, and if something's really complex, I would be available by phone as well. I'm not often in my office, but we can figure out some way to communicate. But during the summer, I am in my office. Sometimes I can also meet with you in person. Of course, be courteous. Even though you don't need to worry about sleeping in class, because we're not going to be meeting in person, it is still important to be courteous. For example, sometimes a student will email me and ask for help, and then I'll help them, and I'll never hear back. I'll never receive a thank you. I'll never receive an email that acknowledges that the information I gave them did help. It's very important to just send the thank you, and it takes about 10 seconds to thank someone, and that's important to do. Not to give, use, or receive unauthorized aid in academic activities. These are serious violations of academic integrity. Make sure you do your assignments on your own, for example. And know and accept the consequences of committing plagiarism, which include receiving a failing assignment grade, failing a course, or being suspended from the university. So academic dishonesty: a student who's found guilty of academic dishonesty will receive the grade of 0 on the assignment, and in the event of the violation is sufficiently serious, an F for the semester grade. According to the Lander University Student Handbook, academic dishonesty includes cheating, plagiarism, or the giving or receiving of oral or written information in order that the student may receive undeserved credit for work. For more specific information on this topic, see the handbook. There's two things I want to emphasize about this. First of all, it's an issue, I think, of justice and fairness. If you have a student who works hard to get a B, and then you have another student who just cheats and also earns a B, I think that's unjust and unfair. So that's a problem. Right? And that's why I tend to try and do my best to police this, to make sure that people are actually doing the work to get the grade. One other thing I should point out: most of the time when I catch people who are engaging in cheating or something like that, it's usually what has happened is you have a student who's doing well, who is doing their hard work, and then another student who's lazy and just says, "Oh, can you let me copy?" And then they both get the 0 when I see it. So this is the thing, right? If you're that student who is gifted, who's working hard, who is earning good grades, don't let other people just copy you. right? They're not your friends. They don't care about you. They're just being lazy and don't want to do the work and think that they deserve to still get the grade. And they will guilt you. They will say all these things like, oh, you got to help me out. You got to help me out. That's not someone you want to have any kind of relationship with, because they're selfish and they're just trying to use you, bluntly speaking. And you don't need, life is too short to be involved with people who are just trying to use you. If you are, on the other hand, the student who's tempted to do these things, you're being dishonest, you're using people, you're selfish, you're self-centered. Don't be those things, right? You want to be a good person, a responsible person who helps the people who you're in relationships with, not someone who brings them down. Don't be lazy. Don't be dishonest. Don't use people. Right? So it's just a very important kind of trait. You want to be someone who is a good person who helps other people, not someone who uses people. Assignments. All assignments must be uploaded onto Blackboard by the date noted in the schedule. Sometimes people will email me the assignment because they say, oh, I'm having trouble with Blackboard. If that happens, I will not mark you late as long as you get your assignment in a reasonable amount of time. But you still have to upload on Blackboard to be graded, right? You still have to upload it onto Blackboard to be graded. And I have a video in the on Blackboard that tells you how to upload a paper on Blackboard and how to make sure that it actually loaded. But what happens is if I have some people turn in by Blackboard and some people turn in by email, it's easy for assignments to get lost. It's harder to grade them. Everyone needs to put it up on Blackboard, right? Like I said, I made a video that shows you how to do it. So if you have trouble, that's how you can do it. By the way, the number one problem why people have trouble uploading things onto Blackboard is because they're trying to upload a link rather than the file itself. So make sure you're actually trying to upload the file. Failure to upload in a readable format will result in a loss of 2 points, and the assignment will not be graded until it is submitted in the correct format. Usually Doc or DocX will work just fine. I don't like PDFs. It's hard to do the inline grading, so DocX is the best way to do this, but you should be able to check to make sure it can be readable after you've uploaded it. Late assignments will suffer a penalty of 50% if they are turned in the day after they are due, and will become zeros 2 days after they are due. For instance, an assignment that's due on Sunday would receive only half credit if turned in between 12:01 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Monday. It would become a zero beginning on 12:01 a.m. Tuesday. So do those assignments, get them in on time. And I have to stress, you don't want to let these things get ahead of you. Stay on top of things. Make sure you get stuff in on time. Okay, Blackboard quizzes and exams. There will be multiple quizzes and exams to be taken on Blackboard. They will usually become available Wednesday mornings and must be completed by 11:59 p.m. Sunday the week they are assigned unless otherwise noted in the schedule. So I don't make them do like the Monday. And if you look at, we'll look at the schedule later, but I usually assign things by week. And I don't open those things up on Monday because sometimes people take them accidentally or they take them without doing all the things they need to do. So I at least want to delay things till Wednesday. If for some reason you, because this is a summer class and I want things to be as flexible as possible, maybe you're planning on going on vacation that week and you're going to do things, you want to do things early, you can email me and I can make your test available to you early, but you need to email me and tell me that that's what you want to do. Otherwise, it's just going to be available on Wednesdays. The quizzes and the exams will be timed with 1 minute being given for each question. For instance, if a quiz has 30 questions, a student will have 30 minutes to complete it. So keep that in mind. There is a time limit. 1 minute is reasonable if a student has learned the material. People who ask for more time, generally it's because they didn't learn the material and are trying to Google things or something, which you shouldn't do, it's cheating. Students will be allowed 2 makeups for such issues as technology problems or a missed deadline. So sometimes someone will just have they'll try and take their exam at 10 p.m. Sunday, they'll have a tech problem, they won't be able to fix it. Or they're going to fill in, they plan to take it sometime on Sunday, and they fill in for someone on an extra shift and at some restaurant or something, and they just forget about it and they don't take it. So there's up to 2 makeups for such issues, but in order to qualify for that makeup, you need to inform me by the end of the day after the quiz or exam was due. For instance, if a technology problem prevented you from being taken from taking an exam on Sunday, a makeup would need to be requested by the end of the day, Monday. Failure to request a makeup by this deadline will result in a 0 for the quiz or exam missed. Now, like I say, you've only get 2. I don't want people to, if I just say, well, it's unlimited, people are just going to abuse it and use it to get extra study time or to cheat or something like that. But you have up to 2. Like I said, you have to let me know by Monday. if you have forgotten or if you have a technological issue or something else like that comes up. If you tell me another time, if you tell me on Tuesday, it's unfortunate, it's a 0. So you want to be very clear about that. You need to stay on task for the class. One thing I should point out, quizzes and exams are open note. We will talk about the study guides later, but quizzes and exams are open note. Working with another student, though, or using another student's notes will be considered cheating, though, and treated accordingly. So keep that in mind. And there are ways I can check this. I'm not going to tell how because I don't want to make it easy for people to try and get around it, but I can check this. So you want to make sure that you're doing your own work. But the key thing is, if you do the study guides that I'll talk about later, and you study the material, 1 minute for each question will be very easy, right? The problem is what sometimes people try and do, because these quizzes and exams are open note, is they don't really take good notes and they don't study their notes. And then when it's time to take the quiz and the exam, they're just frantically trying to figure out things, and they run out of time and they complain, oh, there's not enough time. But if you actually do the study guides and you have those ready, 1 minute per question will be plenty of time to complete this. Changes to the syllabus. I reserve the right to make future revisions to the syllabus. So if something's not working, if there's a problem, then I reserve the right to make changes to these course policies. I very rarely ever do this, but I do have that right. Grade appeals. All appeals for changes to grades must be made in writings. Email is acceptable, but individual meetings or phone calls will not take place unless the written appeal is deemed sufficient. Requests for individual bonus assignments, the reopening of old Blackboard quizzes, or a change of grade based on such reasons as a need for a certain GPA to maintain a scholarship are unjust to other students and will therefore be rejected. So, I occasionally will have someone who gets D's on all the exams, and then after the final exam, and they've often failed the final exam in addition to getting D's all the other exams, they'll say, oh, I need a B or I need a C. Can't you help me out? And it's like, well, you need to help yourself. You need to learn the material. And we have to remember I have a somewhat different perspective, because the question I ask myself when I'm assigning grades, in a sense, is, are these people like on the same level, right? And if I take a D student and just say, oh, okay, that's fine, this person needs a C, I'll give them a C, that's not really fair to the C students who actually earned their C's, or the students who actually earned their B's, right? This person worked very hard, they know the material, this person didn't. How do they, in any way, shape, or form, deserve the same grade, right? Basically, the grade is a way of certifying on your transcript that you have performed to a certain level. And so it doesn't make sense to give people who do D-level work C's or B's. So you need to think to yourself, what is the grade I need to get in this class? Let's say it's a B. And if you're getting anything less than B's on your exams and your assignments, you need to start changing how you're doing things and do work to improve your grade, right? You need to do work to improve your grade. So the key thing is to know what you need to do, right? What the grade is you need to earn. And if you're not earning that grade, if we had the first week and you want a B and you get a D on the first exam, we need to talk and we need to figure out to help you get the grade that you want by earning it, right? It may seem kind of curious to have an inclement weather policy for online classes, but it does make a difference, because you may face issues where you're at that may make it difficult for you to complete assignments. So circumstances may arise in which inclement weather impacts online classes. If the university or course instructors experience inclement weather or natural disasters that cause power outages or technical failures that prevent work from continuing as scheduled, students will be informed of the situation, and if necessary, deadlines will be adjusted accordingly. Likewise, students may be impacted by weather events or other natural disasters that impede their ability to participate in online classes. In such circumstances, students should contact their instructors as soon as possible and provide evidence of the situation if instructors request it. Instructors will make reasonable accommodations up to the point that students have missed too much time or work to continue their classes. In such situations, university support systems will help students determine the best course of action. If you now or develop during the semester a physical or a learning disability, you must contact the Lander University Wellness Center to receive reasonable accommodations. Once the Wellness Center has received appropriate documentation, your instructors will be informed of approved accommodations. This doesn't come up too much in an online class. One thing that does come up is some students have the right to have like 50% extra time to take an exam. So some students do have accommodations that say, okay, if the exam's 30 minutes, this student gets 45 minutes. And that's actually really easy for me to do. It's not a problem at all, and I can do that. but it is your responsibility to remind me to do that. So if you are a student who has this accommodation, and I'm able to check, but if you want me to actually give you the accommodation, it is your responsibility to contact me and tell me that you want to use it for each quiz or exam. So one problem with online classes is that, as I mentioned before, they seem kind of unreal. And a way to kind of help people stay connected to the class, I have these weekly passwords. And these also are supposed to act as kind of announcements to help people kind of keep track and be aware of things and give me an opportunity to make comments based on how people are doing and upcoming events and things like that. So basically, by the end of the day of Monday of each week, maybe even earlier, it may go up Sunday, but definitely by the end of the day, Monday of each week, I will send out an email with a link to a brief video or podcast that discusses the material for that week, right? So this is kind of like in a classroom, you maybe would have a professor give a list of announcements and upcoming events and things like that. You should watch these videos or listen to the podcast and then email me the password found within these materials. I will clearly state, this is the password. The password is kimchi or something like that. And just email me the password. I probably will not respond, but that's just a way to kind of keep everyone kind of up with things, keep up with announcements. Remember, I may not respond because I have a bunch of students who will be sending in passwords, but I might, if there's an issue or that is a kind of reminder to me, it's like, oh, this student did really well in the last exam. I should, encourage them to keep up the good work. But like I say, the main point of this is, in a sense, two. One is just to make sure that you're staying connected to the class. The other is that make sure that you're able to keep up with the announcements and important information we need to know. Now, there is a grade assigned with this. Each password is worth 5 points. If you fail to send in the password by the deadline noted in the schedule, you will receive a 0, and there are no makeups, right? If you miss the password, that's unfortunate. It's a 0. So you want to stay connected, keep watching those things, be aware of what's going on in the class. My understanding is that students have all received extensive Title IX training, so I don't want to go too much into detail here. I just want to note that if you feel that your rights under Title IX have been violated, you can see a list of those rights, further information, and contact information for who to talk to if you are facing an issue in regards to Title IX. And you can find all that stuff on Blackboard on the syllabus. My grading scale is fairly simple because I'm a history professor and I don't understand math well. So basically, you get points. And in this class, a point is a point is a point. So each point is worth the same. Whatever assignment it is in, if it's worth 25 points in a quiz and it's worth 25 points in a writing assignment, those points are the same. And then at the end of the grading period, I just look at your total points and I assign a grade based on this grading scale. So if you end up with between 900 and 1,000 points, you have an A. 800 to 899 points, you have a B. 700 to 799 points, you have a C. So on and so forth. And it's very important. Please remember this. I will always get students who email me saying, oh, I figured out my grade and it's this percentage. So what does that mean in terms of my final grade? And I'll say, well, I don't grade based on a percentage. I grade on total points. So you don't want to necessarily do that, right? And I will give regular updates to your grades on Blackboard. But I just want to know I do by total points. And one reason also I do that is so that you can just see how am I doing, right? We're halfway through the semester. This is the grade I have. This is how many points are left. How well do I need to do in order to get the grade I want? But remember, I grade on total points. And in this class, a point is a point is a point. Doesn't matter how I assign it. So the grade breakdown, here's where all the points come from. There is an introductory quiz that it covers material from the syllabus video and from the succeeding in an online video and from the syllabus itself. That is worth 10 points. I also use that quiz as a way just to people who maybe aren't familiar with taking Blackboard quizzes to kind of help them. So the introductory quiz, unlike every other quiz that I have, is you can take it as many times as you want. So take that quiz until you get all the points, right? You can keep taking it. It's going to take the highest grade you get. Keep taking it till you get all the points. And that's to kind of get people used to taking Blackboard quizzes, get them used to the way that I do things and the way that I ask questions. I like to ask not questions. I'll say, which one of these is not something? And you have to successfully find the one that doesn't fit with the other ones, right? So I'll say, which of these is not a reason why you should, or not a way that you should spend your time in preparing for an online class. And then there'll be 3 things that you should do and 1 thing you shouldn't. You have to find the one that you shouldn't. I like those ones because it's really hard to game them. You have to actually know the material to do it well. But in any case, that's that introductory quiz. It's 5 questions, so you'll have 5 minutes. There will be the weekly passwords. There's 6 of those. They're each worth 5 points. Writing assignments, there's 6 of those. They're each worth 25 points. The week 1 quiz will consist of 30 questions, and each question is worth 3 points, giving you a total of 90. Week 2 quiz is the same. Then there will be a midterm in week 3. This is all in the schedule, which we'll go over shortly. It has 50 questions, so you will have 50 minutes, and each one of those questions is worth 4 points. The midterm will cover stuff from week 1, week 2, and week 3. Then you have the week 4 quiz, which covers the material from week 4, the week 5 quiz that covers material from week 5, and in the final, we'll cover questions from the whole thing. So you want to make sure that you don't forget the material, right, that you actually learn the material from that first week, because that material from the first week will be on the midterm, and on the final. Week 2 will also be on the midterm and the final, and so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind. There are 1,010 points possible. I grade out of 1,000, so that means built into the course, there's an automatic 10 points bonus just built in the course. And that's one reason why you don't want to divide and decide your percentage, because that can kind of mess it up and it makes your grade seem lower than it actually is.